In fact, Father was welcomed, as you remember. The people friendly, people were.
그래서 기독교를 데려가지고 여기서 서구 사람들은 한국 가는 거야. 한국은 기독교는 영적 국가의 실체 기준을 안 나가거든. 안 나가는데 미국이 와가지고 미국을 중삼아가지고 미국은 영적 세계 국가인데 한국은 국가 내 국가적 입장에서 반대를 했지만 미국은 물론 조건적인 반대했지만 말이야 전체적 반대는 안 했거든. 그렇기 때문에 미국을 중심 삼고 환영받았다는 것은 한국 국가가 반대해도 탕감복한다 이게. 그렇기 때문에 탕감복했기 때문에 한국 자체 내에 있어서의 국가 기준을 외적 기준을 연결시킬 수 있는 자연적 환경이 형성되었기 때문에 비로소 이 서구 사회 사람들 중에 삼아가지고 기동들 데려가지고 한국 사람과 일체원들이 그 어일루 광장인가? 여의도 광장이 대회에 있어요. 모든 기독교인들과 전 국민이 합해가지고 하나 운동하는 거예요. 그때 기독교를 대해가지고 기독교하고 정보고 그다음에 무엇이었다고? 네? 기독교하고 전부 다 한국 정보고 격세인 것을 서울교회가 이것을 맡아가지고 싸우는 거예요. 그것은 뭐이런 유대교를 중상고 볼 때 말이야. 유대교하고 정보고 하나 돼가지고 예수를 쳤는데 이번에는 말이야. 레브론 뭐라고 예수와 같은 예배용 뭐라고 하고 한국 정보 하나 돼가지고 기독교를 쳤다 반대로. 이러므로 말미암아 예수 국가부터는 잃어버리고 탈가복되는 거예요. 그래서 만약에 그런 노릇 해야 된다.
So what Father did after coming here, and of course Americans opposed Father, but not until after the 1 or 2 years after Father's dispensation since 1973, and namely the Nixon and the Nixons and the Carter's administration. Right around there, the opposition started. Clearly, the communist agitators started these, but that doesn't mean all America went against Father. Actually, some Americans went against Father, but some Americans didn't. Actually, there are a lot of supporters to Father, although it doesn't show up now. So in the beginning, more than Christianity, more than Christians themselves, America welcomed Father. Therefore, with that condition, Father brings that the IOWC to Korea. And then Father has a big rally there in the Yeouido Island. You know that. And that big one, and at the time the Korea government and the Christianity are fighting each other. And then Father helps Korea going kind of against the Christians, because what Father proclaimed, Father has been in fact saying the Christians are wrong, so that Father was in the countryside. Actually what that happened was, why did that have to come by? Why that had to happen was, in the Jesus time, this the Jewish nation and the Judaism go against each other. They get together and they both go against Jesus. But this time, not the Korean government and the Christianity come together and oppose Father. No, it didn't happen that way. The Father and the government got together and fought against the Christianity. So that in fact indemnified that Jesus' time when the Judaism and the Jewish nation got together and opposed Jesus. So this time Father indemnified that. Therefore,
그것이 연결돼 가지고 국가를 서울내분이 사탄은 세계 기반 미국을 주고 사는 반기를 들고 공해하는 거지. 타타 정부 시대를 들어가지.
Then again, because of that, the communists will start actively with the Satan, with that using as the condition of accusation. Then the opposition and persecution towards us become very severe after that.
그래가지고 우리는 76년까지 여기 대회를 통한 모든 한국의 핍박을 극복하고 왔던 때까지 전부 다 승리의 결과를 가져옴으로 말미암아 그 새 세계의 출발. 그것으로 말미암아 이 세계 민주 세계에 대한 통감 조건은 완전히 세웠던 거예요. 이것은 지금 뭐 법정 시대는 그건 아무도 그건 잔당들이에요. 타타 정도 잔당이 하나의 잔당.
So during that 3 years, until the 1976, Father had these 3 big rallies. Father knew he had to wage this. He had to start this the fight, and father won over it, in fact.
자, 그래서
Which is, by doing that, father established a clear commission to go through all the worldwide scale persecution.
그때 그 70원은 전부 다 한국 대학 끝나와가지고 선교사를 보내가지고 전 세계에 이 외적 기반 연장 기반을 도모하는 거야. 미국과 전부 연결해서 전 세계가 반대하는 거야. 전 세계.
And we
그
remember,
70년대가 앤티크다. 그 이후에 역사상의 서울교회는 그 이상 반대 시대를 지내간다는 거야. 내리가.
and father knew he had to fight the peak of the opposition, peak of the hardest battle. And father, by father winning over them, then there was actually no more severe persecution after that. Father knew, therefore, father had to proclaim that a new era in 1973, after the meeting in 1973. Actually, the highest point, 75. 76, the following year, so following year, 77. Actually, the highest opposition came during that time. And father knows, historically, that's the peak of opposition. After that, the opposition is not as severe. Even this court case, this is way below the standard, by standard, the persecution compared to that the prime time. This is like a straggler. You know, the regular army will fight each other, and one army is completely knocked out, but still it has a straggler. You know, the small units, guerrillas, so to speak, who never will give up fighting until a certain period of time. They keep on fighting, thinking that war is still on.
그래서 20년 년에 4년 단축에서 통감적으로
And father's 21-year course, during this time, father was all the thing father thought about was how to terminate 21-year course successfully, and almost by miraculously, father shortened this 21-year course by almost 4 years and a half.
그때서부터 우리 공세치전, 그다음에 이제 재판장, 싸움.
When father was sure this was accomplished, then for the first time in the history, in the first time in the father's history, but for the first time in the entire world history of God, we turned into offensive. Then we sued people. Until then, we were beaten and beaten. Everybody knew, but we never retaliated. But this time we retaliated.
이렇게 토익을 반대하려는 것은 누구부터가 하면 선생님이 반대하는 그 직접 그 사람이 과거에는 가인이 많은 때가 아니고 아벨이 많은 때고 이제부터는 아벨이 많은 때고 가인이 많은 때로 갔다. 그래서
Do you understand? It's like a mountain here, peak. Unification Church members, Unification Church, Father, chiefly during this 21-year course, go through the persecutions. Every time, you know, all the able will bear the indemnity. But when it passes the peak and go down, then it's on a downhill. It's easier. Then starting from this peak on, who pays indemnity? Not able. Cain is indemnity. So if Cain opposes the righteous people so much, before that, so much indemnity had to be borne by Abel. But after the time, so much indemnity had to be borne by whom? By Cain himself. So if they oppose us, they have to pay price. It doesn't cost us anything. Do you understand?
그래서 1988년 유럽부터 공산 국제공산운동 야가지고 세계 미국도 야가지고 몇 번.
And like Father predicted over and over again, that's the time, starting that time, America become weakened also. Become weak. The communists are rampant, communists hold more ground, they are more active. So is Russia too. Russia is getting weaker too. There's a rift between China and Russia comes also. But proportionately from that time on, Japan starts expanding. Asia, namely, Asia starts showing up. Do you understand?
그래서 홈처치라는 것은 이수님이 세 가지 가정과 여섯 가정에서 가정적 기반을 닦은 것을 한감 놓고 해서 종족적 기반을 여기서 생각을 해놓아야 여러분들이 나라를 위한 본적이라든가 나라를 위한 생각력을 갈 수 있기 때문에 이것이 기반이 되어 있음으로 말미암아 홈처치를 하지 않을 수 없다. 그래서 홈처치라는 것은 예수님이 죽음으로 생각을 한다고.
So, through home church, what you are accomplishing is you are in re-indemnifying what Jesus failed Zacharias and Joseph's family failed on Jesus. That failure you are re-indemnifying here in the home church. By doing so, that plan to back you up, on that foundation you can begin your working on the national level and the world level restoration. So, what conclusion does it give to us?
그래서 그 기반을 내가 선생님이 인정해가지고 종족적 홈처치부터 그 다음에 민족적 홈처치 선생님이 만들었다. 그런 과정을 거쳤고 국가적 홈처치, 세계적 홈처치, 선주적 홈처치 기반을 단감 조건이나마 닦아놨다 그야.
So, Father, the same token, by doing that, Father has established the indemnity condition through home church, in home church, of the clan level and the national level and the world level. It's all already in there, in the home church.
무슨 말이야?
Do you understand?
그 세계를 전부 탕감해가지고 생각했던 거야. 종족적 탕감적, 민족적 탕감적 이런 홈처치 형태와 같은 것을 그렇게 단계 발전시켜가지고 영계까지 문을 열어놨다기야. 그러면 그 전체를 한꺼번에 선생님의 시대에서는 아담 실패, 그 다음에는 예수 실패, 선생님 시대에서 잘못한 실패. 예? 무슨 말인지 알아서 기성교회는 전부 다 유대교는 전부 다 미국의 공산당이 전부 다 반대적이야. 그러므로 전부가 국경이 갈라지고 교회가 전부 다 갈라지는 거야. 그렇기 때문에 우리 시대 와서는 어떤 데란 말이야. 그래서 하나님 대회에서 하는 거야. 전부 다 정파가 연결되고 교파가 연결되고 그 다음에 국경을 초월한 자리에서 전부 다 넘어선 자리에서 홈처치 기준을 여기서 성립시킨데 이 홈처치는 옛날 예수님 시대 홈처치 기준이 아니고 선생님 시대의 홈처치 하나의 땅을 대표한 당감 개혁을 겸한 것을 집약시킨 그것을 하나의 만들어 제시해 놓은 그것이 홈처치다 하는 거라 이래갔다. 알았어?
So you see the home church. What is home church then? Briefly, Father explained that 8 stages. You know, the individual stage, Father will win the victory and go out and come back and establish that. And the family to the clan and the nation level. What Father did, established condition. This condition is not just a small thing, but this condition is real, legitimate working condition, law, which opens up a way. Father opened up a way all the way up to the spirit world to God. Now, Father condensed that, and in the home church, Father delegates assign a home church. Now, if you do this,
홈처치가 선생님에서는 홈처치 같은 걸 연정하면 홈처치가 클랜 처치고, 트라이브 처치고, 내셔널 처치고, 월드 처치고, 가족 처치 형태의 조건을 갖추었다는 거예요.
so Father had already established that a different level of church, like we have just heard, and all that door is open. So, by Father allowing us to, if you do the home church, then you have established the same condition as I have established. So this is working. In other words, Father proclaimed that, and if we do that, actually God recognizes that, even Satan recognizes that. So this is the home church. Also in the home church.
그 전체를 들어가는 거야. 가스널 처치, 월드 처치, 네이션 처치, 그다음에 트라이브 처치, 클랜 처치, 홈 처치 하나의 것을 집약시켜가지고 너희들이 한 번에 tangam할 수 있는 기준을 갖다 놓는 데는 예수 시대의 기준을 갖다 놨다. 그 예수 시대는 뭐냐면 하나 아버지 앞에서는 부모와 선생님 앞에는 예수는 장자래, 장자. 그래서 장자의 자유를 갖다 놓는 거야.
So Father condensed that and gave you the home church, and condensed that and the named it home church and gave it to you. By doing your home church, rather relatively simply, then you will have accomplished the same condition as Father took all of his 21-year course very.
내 홈처치라면 너들을 녹여주는 데는 예수가 장자의 자리에서 실패했던 아들의 자리에 실패했으니 너도 부모 앞에 아들의 자리에 있으니 예수 실패한 그것만 넣어라. 그 다음에는 전부 다 여기에 클랜, 트라이브 처치, 무슨 네이션 처치, 월드 처치, 가족 처치 전부 다 탕감 조건 속에서 문이 열렸다. 이것만 완전히 해가지고 넘어선 날은 저와 같은 지략한 탕감 조건으로서 성립해주기 때문에 전체를 완성한 것으로서 부모 기반 후에 달려 넘어갈 수 있거든요.
Because Jesus, you see, at the Jesus time, he fails, and Jesus is in an eldest son position to father. If father is a true parent, Jesus is good. He's an eldest son, isn't he? So, if by we doing what sonship is required to do, then beyond that is a parent's foundation. In other words, we can inherit our parent's foundation by doing our share of the level of foundation, which is what Jesus had failed.
그러니까 지자산을 설치라는 선생님 실패한 것을 탕감한 것을 다 탕감한 조건을 승리한 기반 위에서는 지자산이가 지금 홈처치라는 자리에서 알아야 되겠다. 예수님 때와 달다른 걸 알아야 되겠다고.
So namely, in the character, you know, it's the same as the Jesus time, but in character it's so different. In fact, it is much more advanced. In that Jesus' time, there was no true parents. But today, we have a true parent who has established all these conditions victoriously. We are on the same position as Jesus, but only thing which is different is we are standing on the true parental foundation, whereas Jesus was not standing on the
넘어서면은 참사가 없다. 참사를 벗어난다.
So, namely, if we do home church successfully, there is no more accusation from any other source.
무슨 말이야?
And this is legitimate. Do you understand that? Satan knows also. He has no more grounds for accusation.
그래서 요즘 현재 지금 때에 서서히 지금 통일교회 반대받는 것이 이제 넘어가네. 점점 레버넌 이름이 점점 활용한다. 그게 선생님은 사탄 핍박조사에 제일 있어서 피부했지만 자네 시대인 부모가 다 탕감해놓고 자네 시대는 저렇게 쓰면 탕감적으로 안내가 주려고 한다. 그런데 부모들 앞에 가면 1차 부모, 2차 부모, 3차 부모의 이 십자가를 가게 한 것은 자식들이 믿지 않았기 때문에 이걸 탕감해야 되는 거예요. 한꺼번에 하나가 탕감해야 돼요. 그것을 전체 합해서 이수님 시대 것, 선생님 시대 것, 아담 시대 전부 다 합해가지고 탕감하는 형태로서 홈처치라는 명목에 딱 이것을 재단과 같이 만들어 놓은 것이 홈처치라는 거예요. 재단 같은 것이 홈처치입니다.
So we have to understand that the home church is a condition by fulfilling which we'll fulfill we restore, we re-indemnify and restore what Adam has failed and what Jesus has failed and what in Father's own generation has failed in son's position, in sons and daughters' position. We, doing home church successfully, we indemnify all these sons' position indemnity we are expected to do.
자, 그럼 선생님한테 따면 어떻게 되냐? 홈처치 필요 없다.
So then what about the Father's own children? Well, they need not do home church. But from this time on, the home church is getting easier as years go by because basically persecution about us is over. More and more enlightenment takes place and the people begin to see what we truly are. So home church is easier to do rather than more and more difficult in the future years to come.
토요교인들이 홈처치라는 것을 이제 만약에 썰어내겠다 세우면 사탄의 참사에서 털수 없을 거 아니에요. 왜? 선생님을 통해서 탕감적으로 세웠다. 그래서
like in the future, if we establish home church
거기도 하나나라의 땅이 되는 하나나라의 활동이 기한이 된다니야.
in Russia, then can Russia come against us? No. God will not let it because
홈처치 세운 말이야.
Because Russia is a part of the world too, and Father had established the indemnity to restore the world, and Russia is a part of the world. Therefore, the Russians cannot deny the Father establishing a home church in the Russian soil.
자, 지금 지하에 만들어놨더라도 나라에서는 반대받치는 사탄이 참석을 한다.
Like in the underground, Father establishes home church now, today, this very minute. Maybe the governmental level, external level, they try to persecute us, they try to oppose us. But Satan cannot, spiritually. Because Satan is the first one to know whether Father has accomplished the condition for restoration of the world legitimately or not.
자, 홈트존 여러분 언제나 와서 여러분이 열심히 하면 하나님이 이것이 하나의 뭐라 출장소와 같이 말이야 대상과 같은 활동할 수 있는 거라 대상원 같이 사탄이 불가침권으로서 영적인 세계는 벌어지기 때문에 저런 데에 이 악령들도 홈트존에서 보따라서 가야 돼 옮겨져야 돼. 그러니 보이지 않지만 여러분 영적으로 그런 현상이 벌어진다 그래.
If we do home church underground in Russia, it's like that underground Russia home church that we Unity Church members do. It's like an embassy of our country established in foreign countries. They are not under their law. You know, this is under the heavenly law because home church is a heavenly area which heaven granted. So actually, this takes place. Satan has to pack up from the home church area and chase out as much as our member work in the home church in Russia.
그러면 뭐냐면 말이야 홈처치는 썰어내려 불이 켜졌다기야. 응? 불이 켜진 거와 마찬가지야.
In other words, home church in Russia is ignited, is lit. The light of home church in Russia is lit by us.
이것이
This is what it amounts to.
이거 점점 많아져가지고 썰어내 밝아지면 거기는 밝아진 것들은 사탄이 떠나야 된다. 영적 세계에 있어서의 사탄이 점령 나간다게. 사탄이 떠나야 된다.
If you light up a light and become a very light, bright light, and more and more lights are lit, and it becomes more bright, according to the degree of brightness, the Satan has to pack up and leave, because the Satan can no longer stay there, because it's light, daylight. Everybody understands what's it all about.
자, 그 안에 예수님 난세의 그 종족적 메시아권의 것은 참부모권, 국가기준, 세계기준, 천주기준, 탄감조건 세운 기반이 없지만은 지금 우리 시대는 홈처 기준이 예수님을 실패한 기준이지만 참부모를 모시고 참부모의 탄감조건 기반 위에 섰다는 사실을 합니다. 그렇기 때문에 그 조건을 지배하는 것을 여러 번을 것을 한 번에 탄감함으로 말미암아 여러분의 5%를 탄감시키기 위해서 이것이 불가피하는 거래요.
So in a home church here, unlike the Jesus time, the Father has commenced that and give to us all the Son is supposed to do, and therefore Father leaves us for the 5% of an individual.
자, 그러면 너들 어디 탄감받겠나? 이게 홈처치에서 나 개인적으로 탄감했고, 가정적으로 담당했고, 단체적으로 담당했고, 인재적으로 탄감, 국가적으로 탄감 조건을 세우고.
So in home church, actually, if we do home church, what happens? If we do home church, then we can establish individual the indemnity for restoration and individually restored, and we can pay the indemnity for the family level, and we can restore that, and the tribal, the clan, and the nation, and the world, the cosmic world, and the spirit world, and even to God. We keep doing that in the home church.
그 무슨 말이겠어?
You understand?
이 홈처치가 가면 뭐냐면 개인들 세계 가정의 소중을 맨날 가해가는 거지. 맞고 빼앗아가고 위해서 가는 거기 때문에 여와 같은 관념을 지금부터 훈련하자면 영계에 들어가서 전진할 수 없어요. 전진 올라갈 수 없어요. 여기에 척 들어가게 되면 마세 들어가게 되면 그 법도 이 홈처치 이 결국 우리 탄감복귀 노전과 마찬가지로 위해 가는 길에 이 법도가 되기 때문에 가정적으로 그리고 종족민족과 저 하나님까지 그와 같은 법도로 연결돼가 쭉 올라갈 수 있는 길이 쫙 걸리는 거예요. 만약 이와 같은 걸 탄감하지 않으면 전부가 막혀버리는 거예요. 전부가 막혀버려요. 영계의 박자 맞게 맞추기 위해서 지상에 불가피한 시설을 하려 한다고.
In the home church, as soon as we go in and start working in the home church, we are beaten. That means persecuted and beaten, and then we restore the blessing. You see, and we keep on doing, and we keep serving, and we keep giving love to them, and they return love for us, and the give and take action, and so we go on. So this is kind of a conditioning. It's like a pattern. Once we go into home church area, that the heavenly pattern is enforced right away. Every day we do the same thing. What do we do? Being persecuted. And since they persecute us, later they have to give us blessings. Because that's the stereotype, that's God's typical way of restoring blessing is sending the one who loves him and let him serve there. And if they persecute him, so much as he persecuted, he has to give the blessing as well, you see. God takes the blessing away. And every day, every hour, everything, small thing, the same pattern recurring over and over again, this becomes a condition. And by the time we go to spirit world, then we automatically, by automatic conditioning, we keep doing it in the spirit world. And we keep going up on the spirit world closer to heaven. If we don't practice this in the home church area, and if we don't know how, if our activity is not patternized, if we are not conditioned, there's no way we can develop in the spirit.
저와 같은 관념을 중요하고 올라가기 위해서 희생봉사하고 탕감 복귀 해나가고 전체를 위해서 맞고 빼앗아가고 사랑해가지고 동화시킨 들이 이 마음만 가지고는 여기 올라갈 수 없다는 거야.
So there's no way in the heaven we keep climbing up in the spirit world, except by we serve others and we are persecuted or beaten. And by doing so, we receive blessings from them. We restore blessings from them.
이것이 이런 우리 지구소에 땅이야, 땅. 땅 안에서 만든 거예요.
So we can only indemnify on this globe, on this earth, in this ground alone. We can do that.
거기서 탕감 복귀하려면 사탄이 가야 되고 가야 있어요.
And to restore by indemnifying, by paying indemnity, there should be Satan and there should be Cain. These two must be always present.
그다음에 가인은 완전히 하나 돼가지고 그냥 참부모가 없으면 완전히 복간.
And also there must be Cain and Abel come into unity. Also there must be true parents here. Without true parents, the ultimate, the consummation of the restoration by indemnity is not possible. Do you understand? So in heaven, no one can go into heaven before parents. Parents will go to heaven first, and then the children can follow in his tread. Not the other way around.
너들이 안노를 내심을 전제하고 뭐 서로 죽고 싶고 이 발가락은 죽는 발가락을 벗었어요. 아니 불안 것으로 마음껏 불안 것으로 해야 돼.
But what if we don't pay attention to what Father says? Maybe it's because it's difficult to understand. Maybe it's because he has such a strong tendency that, I can do better. If we have that kind of thing, if we take light of Father's teaching us now, does not become a habit, what Father tells us to do in the home church. If we're not familiar with that, then we are in trouble. When we go to the spirit world, no longer we can change our pattern. Then we are in a big trouble. Because whatever we think now, there's no way to hide that. Now you can hide, but there in the spirit world you cannot hide what we are thinking, and that principle is not working, and you cannot change that. Therefore, we are in trouble. Therefore, you can see right there, but you cannot climb up there. Once we get to the spirit world, here we can see as well as we can go up there by following what God tells us.
이 과정을 거치고 말이야. 용기의 모든 걸 해방으로서 적응했습니다.
By following this pattern, by condition to that, by becoming accustomed to that, and if we keep doing the same thing in the spirit world almost automatically, we don't even have to try very hard because we already practiced it so many times. And our mind is well in pattern. Therefore, once we get to the spirit world, our mind is almost drawn by gravity even. And we keep on doing right things repeatedly.
자, 이거는 홈처치는 세계를 추수하기 때문에 연관성 있는 이런 신정물이지만 너들 개인전하고 스피리트 전하려면 개인이야. 가정 정책 민족 국가와 연결하는
This home church doing is in Canada, and it keeps on working. But if we do the street witnessing and the other witnessing outside the home church, it does not have it does not lead us to the same way where we are destined to go. So we have better pay attention to what Father says and take heed and follow that.
제가 이거 모르면 만들면 홈처치를 안 하면 절대 안 되는 거 같다고.
So you are the leader, you are leaders, and you must know clearly yourself why I am doing home church, why we are doing home church, why in fact we must do home church, or else you cannot motivate yourself or you cannot motivate other people.
알겠어 무슨 말인지?
Do you understand?
그 홈처치라는 예수로 말미암아 이루어졌고 시작하자니 만들어져 있고 홈처치 완성은 선생님으로 말미암아 됐다는 거입니다.
So the conclusion is rather simple once we come to that. Why? How come the home church come into being? Why it was necessitated? Well, because of Jesus, because of his failure, this home church had to begin. And necessitated. And because of Father's success in completing home church, this completion of home church become also possible for us. In other words, home church was necessitated because of Jesus' failure, and home church become possible because of Father's success. Do you understand?
홈처치 상을 완성했기 때문에 선생님이 홈처치 기준을 여러분한테 전수하십니다.
Since Father has accomplished home church ideas, in other words, since Father accomplished all the ideas that takes a home church to do, therefore Father is giving that home church as a microcosm to you.
홈처치를 사탄이 보여야 되고 가인도 쌓여야 되고 사탄이 쌓여야 되고 하나님도 쌓여야 되고.
This home church achievements and the home church system itself, Satan has to sign, God has to approve, the king has to go along. All these elements must be there and these are there. These elements are there. Do you understand? So as soon as you receive the Satan signing, the king signing, and God's approval, then with that signature you can go freely in and out of heaven. It's actually called, it can be said, it's a ticket to the heaven. Today there was a movie, A Ticket to Heaven. They don't know what they're talking about, but such a thing as that is there. Since it's there, you know, without their knowing, they start speaking that, they start saying that. Do you understand?
홈처치 완성한 놈은 뭐만 360도를 완성을 하시는 데는 아주 유명해.
So if you accomplish 360 home church here on earth, there's no part of the spirit world which blocks you. You can pass freely in the home church. That includes Christianity, that also includes the Buddhism, that also includes Mohammedan influence, that includes the Confucius realm, whatever. All inclusive is ticket for free pass.
홈처치 필요한 거 아닌가?
So with this much you know about home church, do you think home church is necessary?
이게 얼마나 복잡하고 얼마나 힘든 과정을 거쳐서 나왔다는 생각.
Just imagine it. No doubt it may be a little difficult to accomplish home church. But what about Father who didn't leave any stone unturned? All the stones turned upside down, probably 10 more times, thousands, hundred thousands of them. And Father arranged it, and Father accomplished it, make it successful. Let Satan sign one way or the other. And the God recognized, and even us can begin to understand how much difficult it was to establish home church before Father can say, here, you go ahead and do that. How much enormous amount of indemnity has been paid before us?
그래서 이제 타월교가 좋고 레버를면서 따라가는 세상에서 뭐 난감한다 학교에서 교과서를 가르치면 6개월도 걸릴 것 같아?
So, in the future, this becomes more widely recognized, more popularly brought to the awareness. And like in a high school, or in the middle school, even the grammar school textbook, home church, all men must go through. Then don't you think it becomes significantly easier, much easier? Everybody knows it has to be done. Then they will study about it. What is there? What does it take to do?
자, 그때
humble.
그때는 홈처치 없으면 어떡하지?
So at that time, if you have no home church to attend to, what happens?
그러면 이 사람 공무원의 입적을 했다는 점을 가지고 의지하는 따라줘.
Then you probably have to beg for your being included in, as a supplement. So if someone doesn't go, maybe you beg him to let your name be in there and go through all sorts of humiliation. So you want to go follow all these people after they die, they become successful too, or you want to be the first one to succeed? Now, all we have to do is just really become one with Father, and then we don't need this 360 home. We have a principle working in Father's side, but after they become popularized and later, if there's no more home church to do, then maybe the home church we have to become one with the 360 different people. Instead of becoming one with Father. Father is a family church. Well, we have many home churches, but the center of that home church is Father's family. If we have many numbers of home church, then automatically a few numbers of church will become a clan church, you see, and a tribe church. If the more numbers are there, this automatically will become like national church. Without fighting, without attacking some country and win over them by force or by illegality, without taking over a country, automatically, by increasing home church, by increasing number, a nation will come into being. Before. Tribe is coming to born. Do you understand? Without even fighting.
전 세계의 통일교인들이 한국 백성 이제 4천만 된다면 8천만 명대가 자동적으로 복귀된다.
Like Father Hilary mentioned, if we have the whole 40 million home church secured.
한국 백성이 4천만 명 되면 말이야. 한국 백성 208천만 명 되면 한국 백성은 자동적으로 복귀된다.
If we count the Korean population, so the population of Korea as 40 million, then by the time we do home church to 28 million.
4천만은 배면 8천만 원이야. 배만 되거든 한국은 가만두고 복귀된다는 거야.
If we have a home church here in number, maybe if we have here 80 million home church, then Korea is a 40 million population.
80 밀리언 환영받고 통일교회 환영받아가지고 통일교회 교인들이 말이야 환영받을 수 있는 외국 세력이 뭐냐면 한국은 자동적으로 환영한다고 말이라고 알아서.
But let's explain it all over again. If we do have 80 million people of home church here, and Korea has a population of 40 million, that side of Korea, the country like Korea will automatically, even without witnessing directly the Koreans, by witnessing 80 million here in this part of the country, the Korea will automatically come into God's eye.
자, 가인들이 세금을 말이야. 나라에 200만 바친다 하게 된다면 가인 세금은 아벨은 자동적으로 복귀되는 거야.
That means in Canaanitic world, if we secure twice the amount of revenue tax, then the half the size of that much in the able country will come into being automatically without directly.
가인이 외국에 전 세계 가인 국가가 자동적으로 하나 되려 한다 이게.
So a certain part of the population in the Canaanitic world, but half the work we do will automatically, without we approaching them directly, they will come into God's side. That kind of law exists in our spirit world, spirit way. Do you understand what that means?
헐트에 대해서 확실히 알았어?
So, do you have clear idea about home church? Yes.
그럼 개인이 완성하는 것도 가정 종족 기반이 있어서야 완성이 시작되는 거라 한다고 사상세계에서. 그래서 개인 가정이 완성되지. 개인이 참소 안 받고 가정이 참소 안 받고 또 가정이 참소 안 받기 위해서는 종족 기반이 없어. 이것이 소생장성하는 산답이야.
So for an individual to be free from, to remain free from accusation, protected in other words, we must have a clan foundation. The clan foundation must surround us and protect us.
3단계.
You see, family, individual, and clan, the three stages.
한 팀.
Is kind of a one team. In other words, if you have clan, you have an individual and a family and secure.
홈초의 종족적 기반만 닦으면 너희들은 먹고 살고 다 그것을 다 먹여주는 거야.
And if you make a good enough foundation in the foundation, then you don't have to worry about yourself and your family.
홈초의 책임자는 말이야. 홈초의 책임자는 360일 아무데나 다 하나 되면 아무데서 뭐 들어가더라도 밥 먹고 다 그럴 수 있다.
In your home church, if you become successful,
부모잖아, 부모.
You're the parents to them, and since what the sons and daughters own, also its parents, so therefore it's just like it is all your own.
선생님에게서는 말이야 세계 통일교 축복 가정들이 있는 곳에 가서는 말이야 너들 물어보지 않고 찬장에 가서 꺼내 먹든가 이불이 있으면 이걸 패고 자든가 방 전부 다 치워버리고 자기 멋대로 가서 하더라도 그 너들이 들어가서 왜 이렇게 물어보지 않고 깐통한다고.
So within the Unification Church, when Father goes into your room, and the blessed couples are living, maintaining your family, and go eat whatever, open a refrigerator and eat, and go to bed, and Father sleeps, and without you asking, certainly Father will not call you over the telephone before he visits you. Then you cannot say, "Oh Father, why just call me before you come?"
그랬다가 너도 이제 천국 가려면 콜로 가야 돼. 콜 전화하고 가야 된다.
Well, if you demand that standard, then before you can go to heaven, you all have to call first. I am going now. You want to do that?
전국 어디 가든 전화 받고 전화. 한 곳에 가든 전화.